Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Clay, bringing you the answer to another burning question. How do I know if I'm raising a narcissistic child? Well, first, let me share what exactly do narcissistic kids look like. So, it is very difficult to spot narcissism in children at first. Children are actually naturally egocentric until they learn to see things from another person's perspective, which is something that is typically connected with narcissism in later years. Kids with narcissism or narcissistic personality disorder, they have a lack of empathy, which is one of the main components of NPD, which within this segment, what I will be referring to when I'm talking about narcissistic personality disorder. They have an overinflated sense of importance, are preoccupied with fantasies of limitless power and success. They are manipulative in relationships. They are very envious of others or believe that others are envious of them. So there are other signs to discover and consider when deciding whether a child is narcissistic or if they will develop NPD. But today, I'm going to share the top 10 telltale signs that you should look out for. So, an NPD child usually has trouble making or keeping friends, mainly because they lack empathy, the capacity for taking responsibility, and they have a strong feeling of jealousy. NPD kids prefer to put other kids down rather than build them up. Because a narcissistic child doesn't get why it's inappropriate to criticize and be harsh to other kids in front of the children or in front of other people, they continue to do it. Because in the NPD's child's perception, this criticism is accurate. And it actually hurts an NPD child to hear adults compliment other kids. An NPD child will also blame others for their personal wrongdoings because narcissistic kids think adults are both dishonest and stupid. They develop this grandiose or very reclusive attitude as a protective strategy. And you as an adult will see examples of this when you see an NPD child accusing adults inappropriately in their work environment or in front of other adults of all their misbehaviors and all their mistakes. The performance of an NPD child can be very problematic because as adults, we know that children, when they play, a child's development, play is very crucial in a child's development. And an NPD child usually has unusual play habits that might reveal early warning signs for narcissistic personality disorder. The NPD child in their play, they avoid reality scenarios. They usually project dysfunctional relationships when playing with other children or when playing with their toys. So in play with a narcissistic child, you're going to start to notice that they go through scenes or scenarios of retribution. They fail to consider or acknowledge the needs of others in their play, or they can be repeatedly destructive. So, those are definitely some things you should look out for when you're looking at your child while they're playing. NPD children also act very cold and their actions are haughty. Haughty is what we would say in Trinidad. This is because NPD children have this ingrained sense of superiority over other children. So when you're looking at this child, you're going to see the kid is refusing to engage or connect with others. They are dismissing or undermining their peers. And they're making statements that basically emphasize or highlight other people's inadequacies. NPD children also lack self-validation. So in narcissistic personality disorder, the root of narcissism is actually a very fragile and virtually a non-existent sense of self-worth. Because of this, narcissistic children are unable to recognize and remember their own excellent traits. This is where you see the child is like fishing for compliments, or they charismatically manipulate the social circumstances and they draw attention to themselves, or they actually try to gain approval from other people. I need you to know that when an NPD child is really stressed, they actually regress. This means that the child with NPD will frequently regress or act much younger than their developmental age. So when an NPD child is put into a challenging circumstance, you will find that they will start acting younger or like a baby to try to escape it because they know there's no way out. And so because they're not able to comfort themselves, you will see that in their actions, their behavior begins to deteriorate as they're suffering. The longer that they're suffering, they start to become more and more baby. NPD children also fail to establish a moral compass. This means that the narcissistic child is incapable of feeling empathy or discerning right from wrong. Because of this, they're unable to recognize the negative effects of their lying, cheating, or even stealing. And they'll continue to use this charismatic narcissistic manipulation technique as long as it's going to benefit them. And most of the time, they won't even display regret when actually somebody discovers that they're manipulating them. You'll also note that NPD children have an overly sophisticated linguistic or vocabulary ability, basically the gift of gab, or as we say in Trinidad, a sweet talker. They do not conceal their weaknesses, in ways that you would think, by, saying, well, I can't do this, or I'm not, intelligent or anything like that. No, they'll conceal their weaknesses by using all of these, what I call $20 words, right? Even though they're unable to understand whatever the concept is that you're talking about. Most NPD kids frequently fail academically, and their academic skills or academic performance does not match their linguistic skills, because guess what? Their verbal performance is a facade. And last but not least, NPD kids struggle with taking responsibility because they think of themselves as unique and they prioritize their demands above everybody else's. So what mattered most to them is meeting their needs. Therefore, in their mind, it justifies their actions. I want to thank you guys today for sharing this learning moment with me. And guess what? If you would like to learn more about understanding who your children are, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to discover more about how we, as parents and guardians, can guide and support our children towards being kind and stable adults. Namaste. Thank you.